Saying that Immure is a hated band is kind of like saying that the sky is blue or that I'm going bald, and only one of those three is an actual tragedy. I'll let you determine which one that is. Immure is a band that sort of made a career out of pissing people off, and while Frankie and the boys, or former boys, certainly would like you to believe that that's what they're all about, because they pretty much are, this is definitely a way to spawn a lot of detractors, although they've also somehow spawned quite the fan base. It's the one paradox about Immure that a lot of folks won't understand, although they are part of the burgeoning deathcore genre that seems to have gotten a lot of traction with today's youth, and that edginess that they seem to embrace with such reverence. Fun stuff, we have a great generation that's following mine. But at any rate, based off of this, there have been a lot of folks that just simply can't get on board this band, and they have reasons as to why that is. So, let's take a look at 5 reasons why people hate Immure, and we of course begin with number 5. Number 5 is that their merchandise is offensive. Yes, there's still a lot of people out there that have the whole personality where they are triggered by the more simpler things of life. In fact, it seems as though they have become triggered by even smaller things than usual, perhaps by a pinprick, either that or John Cena returning to Monday Night Raw, whichever it may be. Frankie Palmieri has cold sold merchandise where he has sold his own t-shirts that have designs that of course are left to the imagination as to whether or not they're truly offensive or not. One of them involves some footage that was from the Columbine massacre, which was just reprinted onto a t-shirt, and another one has the apropos phrase of "keep calm and ask your girl what my dick tastes like." Well, to be perfectly honest with you, Frankie, I asked one of my ex-girlfriends what your dick tasted like, and she responded with 7 hours of begging, 14 seconds of sex, and 2 hours of crying. Whether or not this is offensive, this is something that will get some of the more sensitive types to veer away from the band without even checking out any of the lyrics, considering they might think that the t-shirt is actually based off of lyrics. Number 4, they're the Limp Bizkit of heavy metal. This has been an idea that has been traversing the internet, traversing the fan base, traversing the haterscape for years and years, and this is certainly nothing new. Immure has kind of taken the route of Fred Durst and the boys, but has sort of taken it to the extreme, making it deathcore. But wait a second, they're the Limp Bizkit of metal. Limp Bizkit is considered by many to be a metal band. Tongue twister alert. So how can they be the Limp Bizkit of heavy metal if Limp Bizkit is considered to be a heavy metal band? Does that just mean that they're more metal-y than Limp Bizkit? That they're more deathy than Limp Bizkit? Either way, basically this is what they're saying. They're saying that the style and Frankie Palmieri's vocals, whether it be based off his lyrics or not, make him sound like a 14-year-old that's pissed off at the world and is not afraid to tell people about it. Ooh, how scary is that? So basically, Frankie says a couple of taboo things within his lyricism. The music chugga-chugga-chuggas its way into people's hearts, and it seems to identify a lot with youth. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between Immure and Limp Bizkit, just about 10 years apart, and that's maybe not a good thing. Perhaps the only good thing that spawned from this is the fact that while Limp Bizkit's chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water was able to shift more than 1 million units in just its first week, none of Immure's albums have come anywhere close to doing that. Number 3, their lyricism defines cringe. We sort of got into this with the last number, and their lyricism is certainly one that seems to take the idea of pushing the envelope, basically shoving it off of a cliff, lighting it on fire, then sending a nuke to destroy it. Yeah, Hiroshima style. It's pretty bogus crap. If you just listen and read to any of these lyrics, you immediately think to yourself, this guy's either on something, hates the world, or just, isn't getting what he wants. It comes off as a 3-year-old that's having a temper tantrum but knows big words. By big words, I mean 4-letter ones. And by 4-letter ones, I mean fuck. Yeah, this is a band that definitely defines cringe based around how their lyricism just operates. If Limp Bizkit and, Fred Durst's lyrics made you cringe a little bit, made you think that he was just going to go back into a locker room or a rehearsal room and write a song because he was contemplating suicide, true story supposedly, makes you wonder what Frankie Palmieri might do. Is he going to slam a bunch of whiskey and then just fuck a lot of people? Or is he instead going to take out a giant butcher knife and plunge it into his own heart? Maybe we should be actually hoping for that one. Number 2, the music is derivative. Now, if there's anything that's true of any style of music that catches fire and actually spurns on a bit of a movement, is that there's a lot of bands that are going to end up sounding a little bit like one another. And this is no different considering Attila and Immure, Whitechapel, and some of the other members of the deathcore flock were really gaining traction and doing the same thing at right around the same time. That's the reason why it's being termed as the deathcore movement as opposed to just deathcore by itself. And based around this, some folks feel that Immure is a more derivative version of bands such as the Acacia Stain. Either that or that this band is nothing more than just a parody of the genre itself, one that actually takes it to the lowest, common denominator, that really enjoys that number 0 for some strange reason. Even though 1 is the loneliest number, it seems like Immure has taken a really, really big shine to 0. Maybe Frankie thinks it secretly looks like a vagina. Who knows? But this is something that has caused a lot of folks to just have absolutely no interest in them. Now, they might call these folks snobs for actually believing that other numbers exist on a guitar, but it's based around the fact that a lot of the music does have that sort of simplified, very derivative edge to it. It's something that does not have a lot of motion to it. The breakdown idea is something that's over-embraced by this band, and you couple it in with the very, very cringeworthy lyricism and the overall ridiculosity of Palmieri himself, and you get a band that just sort of defines that whole, I don't even want to touch them, based around the fact that if I get some of that on me, I might turn into a douchebag too. Yeah, this is probably one of the biggest reasons why people are turned off by this band, is the actual music, which makes a lot of sense. However, this is still only number 2, which brings us to number 1. Number 1, Frankie tries too hard to be hated. Yes, this is actually one of the biggest reasons that are out there why Immure is loathed. It's based around the fact that everything that seems to be centered around this band is in this immense trial to be one of the most hated bands in the universe. And I guess prove that if you're hated and loathed, it means people will always have you on their tongues. Oh no, coverkillernation's talking about Immure. It means that he's giving them attention. It means that they're never ever going to go away. Here's the thing, if this was merely just an experiment in that, it didn't work because I made a video about him or anybody made a video about him. It actually worked based around the curiosity of those that bought their records and the fact that, they gained some circulation, the fact that there's a whole bro metal collective that's out there that's actually liking these guys based off of their edginess and cringiness, thinking that it makes them look cool. Think about it, whenever you were 14 years old in the late 1990s and were listening to Slayer as opposed to Britney Spears or NSYNC. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people probably thought that you were going to be the next Unabomber. But now, these days, Immure is kind of seen, or at least in the eyes of some of their younger fans, as the exact same thing, that exact same philosophy, that whole take no prisoners, take no shit attitude, and I should really apologize to Megadeth for quoting that. Ugh, man, now I have to make another video an apology. That sucks. But at any rate, Frankie himself has just been a ranting lunatic ever since the band has really gained popularity and traction, and this is something that has been absolutely 100% taken advantage of by sites such as Blabbermouth, Metal Sucks, and the heavy metal press, principally because a lot of people do like to sort of laugh at him for being such a douche. And, well, he embraces it. It's something that he likes. It did cost him a lot of his band, just a couple of months ago, but he feels that he could just keep on soldiering on. You have to actually admire a guy that actually has that as his principal reasoning for, wanting to do business. You have to actually admire somebody who wants to take that route. It's definitely not one that most people would choose to go by, and if they did, most people would laugh at him and say that that's the stupidest thing that they've ever heard. Why would you want everybody to hate you? Why would you want to be a heel? Why did you want to be somebody that gets booed? Well, sometimes the people that get booed are the reasons why the people that get cheered get cheered. Maybe we need a band like Immure that a lot of people hate. That way, they can find some of the gems that everybody is beginning to like. Maybe Immure secretly has been this designed weapon of Frankie Palmieri to make this awful group. That way, heavy metal itself could be explored by more people. That way, heavy metal itself could maybe rise again, based around the idea that they're able to sort of sidestep his group after, enjoying them and buying their records, sort of cheating them out of the money, and then all of a sudden discovering things that are much better. Yeah, it'll eventually leave him with no career, but heavy metal will be saved. He's Jesus. He's the Messiah. No, he's just a douchebag. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 5 reasons why people think that Immure absolutely sucks. And it has a lot to do with, Frankie Palmieri. Frankie, can't you see? You are hated by more than just me. You're kind of a douche and your clothes are garbage, just like your music, so fuck you. I'm really bad at writing songs. That's the reason why I review the stuff and don't make the stuff. If you have a band that you think should be the next band to get victimized by the 5 Reasons series, definitely leave your suggestion in the comments below. And finally, always remember that these 5 Reasons videos are talking about the fan reaction. This is not an attempt in order to try to clear the air, either that or, expose the truth. This is instead one that's meant to dig up all of the information that the fans feel about these groups and what actually causes them to either turn away from them or no longer like them. If you think that this is something that's unjustified, then leave the reason why you think Immure should be respected in the comments below as well. My name is CoverKillerNation, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.